Dear friends, welcome to this week's virtual Drasha. This week we have the incredible privilege to read Parshas Nitzavim. And Moshe Rabbeinu begins with a very simple pasuk, a very simple statement. Atem Nitzavim hayom kulchem lefnei Hashem Elokechem. All of you are standing here before HaKadosh Baruch Hu, your God. And then Moshe Rabbeinu says, who's everyone? Rashechem, Shiftechem, Ziknechem, Shodrechem, Kol Ish Yisrael, every member of Klal Yisrael. And then he mamish gets granular. Tapchem, Neshechem, Gercha Hashem Bekerev Machanecha, everyone's here. The water carriers, the tree choppers, the women, the children, the converts, the judges, the enforcers, everyone is here. Why? Because ultimately, Moshe Rabbeinu says we have to reestablish, concretize, re-energize our bond with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. A bond was made 40 years earlier by Har Sinai, by Matan Torah, Sinaitic revelation. But this is a new generation and a new group going into Eretz Yisrael. And Moshe Rabbeinu says, before I take leave of you, it is my job to make sure that you are committed to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, because I know that the Ribono Shel Olam is committed to you. The Avrucha Bevris. We're going to go ahead and review and reconcretize that beautiful covenant between Am Yisrael and the Ribono Shel Olam. What's interesting to note is the word or the phrase that Moshe Rabbeinu uses to introduce this. Atem Nitzavim hayom kulchem lefnei Hashem Elokechem. The word Nitzavim. Now, on the most basic level, Rashi points out, Atun kayomin. Nitzavim means you're here. You are all present. The interesting part is, if that's what Moshe Rabbeinu wanted to convey to us, there's a simpler word. Atem omdim. You're all standing before Hashem, your God. Just leave it at that. You're standing before God. Why a more complicated word of Nitzavim? And the Ramban says something beautiful. Nachmanides explains that Nitzavim means omdim umizumanim. You are standing here and you are prepared. And you are prepared. And it's almost as if what Moshe Rabbeinu was telling Klal Yisrael in this one word of Nitzavim is that the road ahead is not going to be easy. The road ahead is not going to be smooth and straight. It's going to be difficult. There are going to be twists and turns, ups and downs, peaks and valleys. There are going to be challenges, and some of them are going to be quite acute. And sometimes in those times, a person feels so overwhelmed by their circumstances that they just want to throw their hands up in the air and give up. I can't do anymore, right? I don't have any more koach to do. Moshe Rabbeinu says, just understand, Atem Nitzavim hayom kulchem lefnei Hashem Elokechem. As you all stand here before God, at the end of the day, you're ready. You got this. You're prepared. Omdim umizumanim. Whatever life is going to throw your way, as a nation and as individuals, Moshe Rabbeinu tells us, you've got this. And what a beautiful message of chizuk. But sometimes, we all have this life. Like someone gives me chizuk, right? I'm having a difficult time. Someone gives me, you're strong, you're powerful, you're this, that, you got this. And I think we often think to ourselves, like, I want to believe that. I want to believe it. But I don't necessarily feel it, like inside. How do I take this Nitzavim promise of Moshe Rabbeinu and actually begin to actualize it, to live it, to feel it? And I'll tell you why this is incredibly important. Mir Hashem, we stand just a few days away from Rosh Hashanah. And the truth is, we believe with all of our heart that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to give us a year of bracha. We don't just say Shana Tova, it should be a good year. It's always a good year. It's always a good year. Because whatever HaKadosh Baruch Hu does, Gam Zu L'Tova, everything is for good. But that's not what we ask for. It's not what we wish each other. What do we ask for? Shana Tova Umesuka. I don't just want it to be good. Everything is good. Even the pain is good. Even the suffering is good. Even the difficulty is good. I want it to be good, but I want it to be sweet. I want it to be beautiful. I want it to be easy. I want it to be easy. But there's a piece of us that knows deep down that as beautiful of an aspirational idea as it is, and as much as I want it to be tova umesuga, there will be moments of mesigus. There'll be moments of sweetness. But inevitably, there's going to be moments of hardship. That's the way the human condition works, and it's for all of us. And by the way, Chevra, this is not me being a downer. Those of you who know me know that, I'm really an optimist, always hopeful. The cup is not just half full. The cup is always overflowing with opportunity and beautiful bracha. But even optimists also have to be realists. and realist understanding that the year ahead will absolutely have beautiful, sweet bracha, but will also have hardship. And Moshe Rabbeinu whispers in our ear and he says, Atem Nitzavim hayom kulchem lefnei Hashem Elokechem. You're not omdim, you are Nitzavim. As the Ramban says, omdim umizumanim. We're prepared, we got this. We got this. But how do we actualize that? How do we go ahead and really make sure that whatever life throws our way, we really got this? How do we become Nitzavim Jews who are omdim and mizumanim for anything that life may bring our way? And perhaps the yesod is in the very next word. Atem Nitzavim. How do you become a Jew who is omdim and mizumanim, who is prepared to deal with anything in life? Perhaps the answer is Hayom kulchem lifnei Hashem Elokechem. Maybe the essence is the maximization of the day. Make the day kulchem. Put the totality of yourself into the day. Put the totality, hayom, take the hayom and kulchem, put all of you into it. Lifnei Hashem Elokechem. And live each and every day before Hashem your God. What do I mean by this? Especially this time of year, Yamim Noraim, everything becomes about the plan, as it should be. What's the plan? Right? What are my goals? What are my dreams? What are my aspirations? What do I want to accomplish? And that's what we're supposed to do. Dear friends, it's important to understand that when we speak about doing tshuva, only part of tshuva is retrospective. Only part of tshuva is about, chatanu, ashamnu, bagadnu, gazalnu, that's only part of it. Only part of tshuva is al-chet. Only part of tshuva is being retrospective and trying to figure out what went wrong and why did it go wrong. But a big part of tshuva, a big part of the process of return is Kabbalah ala asid, the future. What do I want for my future? What do I want for myself? But it is important that while we plan for the future, we also create strategies for maximization of the present, for maximization of the day. How do I maximize my day? Because at the end of the day, my future is not just like some big amorphous, clump of time. My future is made up of individual days. And all too often in life, we focus on like the big vision, the big plan, but we forget that successful living is about the maximization of each and every day. When I wake up in the morning, there should be a sense of excitement. Like the Shulchan Aruch says, Kum ka'ari, get up in the morning, right? Get up in the morning like a lion. Okay, besides the fact that I eventually none of us like just jump out of bed. I don't know how a lion gets up, but I would imagine that the lion gets up at the start. So I don't know that any of us get, but when you get up in the morning, do you feel, when the slumber wears off a little bit, do you feel like, wow, there is this day in front of me with untold possibilities, with untold potential, with limitless opportunities. Granted, I can't take advantage of all of them because there's also a lot I have to do during the day, but an excitement about what the day can be. Or is it, unfortunately, I just got to get through today because Shabbos is almost here. Chavra, sometimes when we say, Shabbos is almost here, understand that's a dereliction of duty. Shabbos is reserved for those who maximize their week. Shabbos is where you come not to escape the week, but Shabbos is where you go to reflect on 7 days, 6 days well-lived. Sheshes yomim tasem melachtecha. For a yid who works hard, I don't just mean putting in a lot of hours at the office, but working hard in life from Sunday to Friday, you get a Shabbos. If it's just about, I don't feel like working anymore, I just want to take a nap and eat cholent, that's nice also. There is a mitzvah on that also. But that's not the essence of Shabbos. The essence of Shabbos is reflecting on a life, on days well lived. Atem Nitzavim. If we want to be able to face the challenges in life, if we want to be able not just to be omdim, but to be mizumanim, to be prepared, life preparation comes from the actualization and activation of the gift of every day. If hayom kulchem, if I put the totality of myself into maximizing the day, and each and every day I am living lifnei Hashem Elokeichem, every day I'm trying to figure out, how could I be before God? How could I live before God? How could I maximize this relationship? If each and every day I'm trying to figure out, how do I actualize my potential? How do I do more? How do I be more? That is a profoundly holy life. And that is a life which will gird you with the strength to deal with whatever comes your way. Those who maximize the day can deal with anything which comes their way. That's what Moshe Rabbeinu was teaching us. Maximize the day, and you will be able to withstand, and you will be able to go ahead and be successful, no matter what life throws your way. You have to have the grand plan, of course. You have to have the vision. But never let the long-term vision come at the expense of daily dynamic activity. Those who maximize the day can deal with anything which comes their way. That's what Moshe Rabbeinu was teaching us. A profound and overwhelming lesson. Yesterday, I had the zechus, I call it the zechus, to attend the Levaya. There was a very special neshama from our kihila, Rabbi Rashkovsky, who passed away. And Rav Kostelitz, who's a Rav here in Baltimore, the Rav of the Niftar, was talking about, and he made such an amazing observation. And he said that Rabbi Rashkovsky, lived through multiple different periods. He was a Yid who was born in pre-war Europe. He was with his family in Siberia during the war. His mother died in Siberia. Came to America, to San Francisco. That was a spiritual wasteland. Came to Baltimore, really, his father moved to Baltimore so his children could attend yeshivas. And he saw so many different iterations of the world and of Klal Yisrael. And somehow, some way, he managed to thrive at every stage. And I wondered, as I was listening to this, I'm wondering, how does a person do that? How do you see all of this upheaval? How do you live? Again, and the Rav was saying that his life in pre-war shtetl was actually really good. It was a good life. You go from a life with everything to losing everything, to then rebuilding with nothing. And again, at every single stage, there's something else, but yet somehow, some way, you keep your connection to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you keep your connection to Torah, you keep your optimism, your hope, you build a mishpacha. And I think the answer is what Moshe Rabbeinu was telling us. That's Nitzavim. What he was describing as Rabbi Rashkovsky, Zichron Livracha, had this Nitzavim. He had his omdim u'muzuman, and he was prepared. How was he prepared? Hayom kulchem. Put the totality of yourself into maximizing the day. Sometimes it's not about tomorrow, and it's not about the long term, and it's not about the long game. Sometimes it's just about Hayom. And if you become a Jew who has a Hayom mindset, a Kulchem Hayom mindset, let me maximize the day, that over time gives me the strength to deal with whatever comes my way. I think that was the secret of this special neshama. And it's not new to him. Moshe Rabbeinu whispered it in our collective ear, in our collective heart, thousands of years ago. And therefore, as we enter into this new year, Rosh Hashanah, Tafshin Peva 5786, Haba Alina L'Tova. At the end of the day, we have to hope for a Shana Tova U'Masuka, a sweet new year. But yet we go into this year filled with optimism, but also we would be dishonest if we weren't also filled with heartbreak. We gained so much this past year, and we lost so much this past year. Our brothers and sisters still languish in captivity. The war is not over. And every day it feels like there's another twist and turn. And we know there's going to be shalom, we know there's going to be victory, but we don't know when and we don't know how. So all I want more than anything is a Shana Tova U'Mesuka. But I know that there will be days where I will have to content myself with just the Shana Tova. I know it. And I want to be ready for it. I don't want life to break me. I don't want circumstances to break me. And I don't want pain to break me. And I don't want to content myself with just keeping my head above water. I want to be successful all the time, every day, throughout my Shana Tova. And when those moments of masikos, of sweetness come, I will grab them and rejoice them. But when they're not masuk, when it's not sweet, and it's just, I know that it's still good even when it hurts, I want to be ready. And Moshe Rabbeinu says, you got this. You got this. You got this. We've had it for thousands of years. We just have to remember that it really all comes down to one thing. Make your long-term plan. But never forget that if you want to be Nitzavim, Om Dimum Mizman, if you want to be prepared for life, Hayom, Kulchem Lifnei Hashem, then make the Hayom, put the totality into maximizing the day. Always remember that you are in the presence of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and you got this. You'll be great. And those days will string together and form together to form a beautiful, beautiful future and destiny. And maybe be Zochem Eretz Hashem to embrace it together. Best wishes for a good Erev Shabbos, a beautiful Shabbos Kodesh, and Exil V'Chasim Tova.